It is shaping up to be quite a day with the stock market, with the crypto market. We'll take a look to see what's going on with Bitcoin, with XRP. Yesterday, I gave an XRP price prediction, a Bitcoin price prediction. I'm going to stand by the commentary that I gave. We'll see what's going on today with the technicals. We're also going to take a look at SPY, QQQ, and IWM to see what exactly is shaping up there on this last Friday of December, last Friday of calendar year 2024. Before we start to get into the 2025 timing of things. And I'll also reiterate a couple of the points that I made yesterday. And I would like to say that I'm putting out some notes on XRP, putting some background information besides those technicals that are out there, just like I said I would in yesterday's video. So I'm not ready to share all of those notes yet, but I do have a little bit more commentary than I gave before, some things that I like about it, and where we have a potential catalyst coming up. And now, mind you, this could be some downward pressure followed by some significant upward pressure. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. I'll give that commentary as we get to it. So let's start off with stocks, then we'll move over to crypto. So SPY, as I record this, down 1.25%, still up above the 50, but down below the 20. We could consider this, even though one full candle close above it, now back down below the 20. So that, if you want to call that a retest, selling back down below that could be a bearish thing. Next thing to watch is that 50-day right at about 590. So falling down below that again could make this a bit of a peekaboo moment. We could see a further sell. We want to watch for that. Bouncing off the 50-day instead, we're still watching again for that 20-day, right around that $600 mark. So we're going to have to watch and see what we get that. I said that we could get some market nervousness leading up to the numbers that we get for employment coming out. It's usually the first week, so I'm expecting that to be Friday for non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. I'll double check that, but that should be on the 3rd of January. We absolutely want to be watching for that because that's really going to help us out to determine what exactly we see for the Fed. Are we going to see further rate cuts? Are we going to see a stabilization in the labor market? Or is that going to be something that eases one of the pressures on the Fed where they're not so much stuck between inflation and unemployment? Inflation too high, employment, jobs a little bit looser than what it was in 2019 as per Jerome Powell. So they're stuck. They can't raise rates. They can't cut rates. Then they're just kind of like, well, maybe over time we'll just kind of trail some of that off another 50 basis points. So that's about where we find ourselves. And I think some of that market nervousness and probably a little bit of rotation is still coming into this. So if you're looking for returns, for example, having those, that lower price coming in for SPY, QQQ, IWM, pushing that down a little bit to end 2024 as you get some profit taking there. Maybe you have a nice little swoon in those prices going into early 2025 and then kind of pick up the pieces on the way throughout and get better returns out of it. Maybe that's something that we're seeing happen. We're just going to have to watch and see. Going over to the Qs, losing the 20-day as of right now. So we're going to have to watch and see where that goes. Still up above the 50 and the 200. So just like SPY, still overall in bullish place. We want to watch and see what happens with that 20. If we stay below it, watch the 50, which happens to be right around 509, 510, which is critical support for us besides being the 50-period moving average. 200 days all the way down at 474. If we again bounce off the 50, which we haven't actually touched recently, let's see if we can bring up the last time. Looks like August the 5th with the carry trade from Japan was the last time that we touched the 200-day. Last time that we touched the 50 takes us all the way back to September the 12th. So all that time we've been above it and coming near to it a couple times in the past between September and now, so over the last 3 months, but not quite getting there. So we're going to have to watch and see what takes place. Right now we have a lower high, and we're going to have to find out if we have a higher low. Are we going to consolidate and trade sideways, or are we going to put in a lower low or an even low? That's also going to be something telling for future direction for QQQ. Going over to IWM, the Russell 2000 stocks. Look at that fall off that we had. This could be setting up for that cup thing that you see right here and potentially maybe for a handle. Now, mind you, we'll really know if we break down below this trend line that you see coming across your screen. So especially down below 219, we're going to have to watch and see if we actually get there. Right now, trading about 221. We did trade down below 219 just for a moment. We actually found it as support, and we actually fell down through support just for a moment, but got picked up by the trend line for support instead and then rallied off of that. So we're going to have to watch and see if we come back down to about 219, 220. It's actually 219.61 as I have it on the chart right now, but watch this trend line going across your screen. Breaking down below that would open us up to about 214 support for the 200-day. That's going to be huge for us. And down below that, 205 down to 200 is about where we want to look for that next support. If we fall down through that, if instead we head to the upside, we have the 50-period moving averages in here, the red and the pink. 50 is the EMA, or the red is the EMA, pink is the SMA, and then you also have the trend line across here, which we only have 2 touches so far. A third touch would confirm it, but it is still something that we should watch for off of those peaks that we have coming down this way. So not confirmed for that top one yet. This bottom one is confirmed though. We have 1, 2, 3 touches on it, and actually a fourth one here with the carry trade that actually found support not at the trend line itself, but at the 200-day, along with some Fibonacci extensions that go along with it. Now, to the crypto stuff. So just to recap some of the commentary, I said between now and Inauguration Day, January the 20th, maybe we see a little bit of price depression happening during that time, expecting a little bit of nervousness or uncertainty between now and then. And so that would be for the entire crypto market. Now, mind you, we could see a beautiful run instead. Maybe we don't see much of a sell down. I'll pull up the charts in just a moment. We'll talk about what's going on today with Bitcoin and what could potentially happen going forward. It is possible that we sell down to some support and then we rip from there. I just do still think that 120, 127 is still 127,000 per BTC. I think that is still in our sights. I think it is still something that we could definitely capture. Now for XRP itself, I did do a little bit of back-end research on this. Now, mind you, it's just the beginning. I just started looking at it today, but I will say, as per the tokenomics of it, is there an inflating supply? Is there a deflating supply? There's actually a fixed supply. It was pre-mined, and that's already taken place. 100 million XRP is how many there are and how many there will ever be as long as XRP exists out there. So I was very pleased to see that there's not going to be any sort of inflationary aspect that takes place with it. There's actually a slight deflationary aspect that goes along with it. We're actually slightly below 100 million XRP available, and that's a number that I believe can only decrease over time. I don't believe that we can get any more. We can just get less with the slow burn feature. So that is a bullish thing for XRP to see that. Now, mind you, some of the demand drivers I'm still looking into. I know about some of the speculation for institutional adoption over time. Now, mind you, like I said, I just this morning started looking at the actual sort of fundamental side, if you will, of XRP, not necessarily from a value standpoint, but is it something that is going to collapse on itself, or what are the demand drivers for XRP besides just some excitement that's out there? And those are questions that I have yet to answer. If you guys have insight on that, again, just leave it down in the comments. With that said, let's go over Bitcoin's chart and XRP. We'll take a look at both of those. So Bitcoin, I said we needed to keep this 292. So far, falling down below it, falling also down below the 50 SMA today. The RSI falling even deeper down below 50, so near-term bearish. The 50 EMA, that's down here around 93,163. Yesterday, I said around 93,000 per BTC, so that's about right. So that is another holdout for us. Now, mind you, we have 2 different touches on support at the 50 EMA. It's still a potential that we get that if we come down to that 93,000. I think 2 major load zones on this. One is the confluence that we have around 85,000, where we have a bunch of corroboration of Fibonacci extensions coming together, really important and vital Fibonacci extensions coming around that value. Also, about 70 to 72,000 is also where we'll be looking for. Not only do we have the 200-day in there, but then we also have the Fibonacci extension values in there as well as some historic resistance turned into support, since now we're up above it. That's the whole ceiling becomes the floor idea that we have with support and resistance when it comes to the history of the movements that we have for stocks and crypto when we're looking at their charts. So for Bitcoin, it is possible that we do sell down from here. I said that yesterday, and yesterday had a bit of a red candle day. Today having another red candle day, and there's also been some outflows with the ETFs for Bitcoin itself. So that's something else that we want to watch. Now, mind you, check out the volumes that we had during the run. Trading volumes, excellent. Look at the volumes that we've had since that run. They've been subdued during that time. This could be that pullback moment, maybe starting that we see between now and Trump's inauguration on January the 20th, and then game on. I think around that time, or maybe even leading up to that time, maybe we have that price spike coming in. So we're going to have to watch and see. What we don't know is just how deep this is going to pull back on us before moving up again. Watch for that support happening around 93,000. If we find support there, make it back up above 95. We want to sit fully on top of that. We especially want to look for volume support in either direction. That's really going to help to confirm whether we're going to get an extended sell or an extended run. We're just going to have to watch and see. Now, XRP falling in line with what we have with the cooling for BTC at the moment, but still trapped up in this support area that we have up here between about 211 and about 216. So in that support area, not so bad. Yesterday tumbled down to it. We have a trend line that could be confirmed. We need to watch for this for a third touch on it. And then down below that, we have the $1.70, $1.77, and then down below that is $1.38 up to $1.45 per XRP. But you can see the nice support bands that we have right around that area down there, which would be down below the 50-day. Now, mind you, the support area that we have here is right around that 50-day, and then we're also currently trapped in it at the moment. So yeah, we're getting a bit of red. We've had a bit of red since the peak of this thing. Now trying to find where that floor is at. Once the floor is established, then we can start to look for that next ceiling. So far, showing a bit of consolidation. We'll see if we get a third touch onto the top or on the bottom of this one. We just have to watch and see what happens for XRP. So that's the commentary that I have for you in this video. I do think that XRP is going to have that run that I think that Bitcoin is also going to have. A slightly sooner catalyst for XRP, January the 15th instead of January the 20th. But this is that whole rising tide, raising all ships thing that we would have taking place, that if Bitcoin happens to be that tide that comes in, that those altcoins that are the ships are going to be rising right along with that tide. And it's usually a whip kind of effect that we have where Bitcoin moves first and then the altcoins follow. So right now, Bitcoin is still big dog on the porch. I don't expect XRP to overtake it anytime soon, but I do expect it to keep on following it at least somewhat for the next little while. So we're going to have to watch and see if we get that, and any positive news that we get, or if the SEC fails to file that appeal by January 15th, that is something that could be pretty exciting for XRP. Maybe it puts us back up to that all-time high near 290. Maybe it's something that finally pushes us up back up over the $3 mark. I think 355 is actually a price. Let me look on here. 318 to 343 is one, and then $3.99, so nearly $4 per XRP. Even according to what we have, if we're seeing a bullish pennant take place, we might see that $4 price tag come out. If 2025 really is the year of crypto coming up that some people are speculating it to be, then that's a run that we could have happen for us. If we break the bottom trend line on that bull pennant, that is something that instead could collapse on us for the short term, for the near term, and then we're going to have to figure out what exactly is going on for there. But right now, things are still looking fairly rosy, even if we are having a little bit of red with XRP, with Bitcoin, and then also even in the equities market that we have with the stocks that are out there, SPY, QQQ, and IWM, the S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, and Russell 2000 stocks, ETFs, respectively, that even though we got a bit of red taking place right now, there's still some questions that are out there. If we get positive economic news next Friday, that could be something with non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. If what we're seeing from there is continued strength in the labor market or no further signs of loosening in the labor market, that could be game on for stocks. That could also be game on for cryptos. If we see further signs of loosening in the labor market, then the pressure really goes on to the CPI. So we really need to be watching for that next inflation number that comes out, because if inflation is on the way up and jobs are on the way down, that can really put the Fed into a sticky situation. So we'd have to watch and see that. Now, that gets into a much longer conversation. Like, so if people are losing their jobs, how are they supposed to continue paying those prices? And that's a much more nuanced approach that's outside the scope of this video. But guys, I do thank you for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you next video.